You're listening to the Movement is Medicine show, a podcast hosted by Head to Toe Spine and Sports Therapy, a modern chiropractic and manual therapy practice in Edmonds, Washington. Now, let's get into the show. What's up, friends, and welcome to the Movement is Medicine show. And I am here with the legendary Dr. Tim. Whoop, whoop.
What's up?
Returned from his parental leave, the new dad.
Returned, a new dad. Yeah. It's been good, man. It's been good. It's been wild, but yeah, it's good to be back.
Well, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
Obviously we missed you. No one can replace you.
Well, I appreciate that.
You bring a lot of gifts to the table. And at the same time, we're so pumped that you were, hanging with the family and new baby and the whole process. It can be a lot, right? So
yeah,
how's things changed? I mean, take us through kind of like getting ready to we're gonna have a baby, and then the process and where you are now.
Yeah. So obviously, as any parent knows, we're only 2 months into this, right? So it's not like I'm have insane amount of wisdom on it, but I can speak to how it kind of changed for me, and it's kind of funny because actually my wife Abby and I, we were talking about this where it was this was the day before she went into labor that it was about a week before the due date. So it's we had this whole weekend planned, we were going to go out to dinner on Saturday night, to a place we really like. And then next day, since, a lot of people, have a lot of downtime with a baby. So we're we're going to watch some movies and just relax and just have a great time. And then 9:30 a.m. the next morning, my wife calls me when I'm at work and she's like, "Hey, I'm in labor." I'm like, all right,
let's go.
Away we go.
Rock and roll time.
Right into it. It's it's you get kind of mentally prepped beforehand before the baby comes as much as you can. It's you're prepping for life to change. And then really, and you hear this from a lot of parents too, which is very true. And you can't really understand it until it happens to you, is when you actually see your baby, hold your baby for the first time, life just kind of flips a little bit in a good way, right? Where it's just oh, okay, this is about you now.
Things just got bigger.
This whole thing just got bigger. And we're taking care of another human life that is part of us. And it's a really crazy, surreal feeling. And I remember just in that moment, just realizing okay, things are different now in a really great way. But it's life is going to change a lot now, and it has, for sure. And it's definitely been an adjustment period. It's been a time that both my wife and I have just had to work out our schedules and our interactions with each other and what we can do for the baby at all times and everything like that. And it's hard at times. It's amazing. It's amazing the whole time, but then it's hard certain times. Especially for myself with working and still trying to maintain an active lifestyle, and then making sure I'm home enough to take care of him and help out with my wife at home. It's a lot going on. And I think, a lot of parents can sympathize with that. They understand that. So that's definitely been one of the big changes, is trying to balance everything. And it's exactly what it is. You do have to find that way to balance things.
Yeah. Some version of balance, right?
Version of it.
Yeah. It changes the idea of balance changes kind of dramatically then, right? Whereas before it's just we're even without some kind of life, it's definitely it's one of those before and after moments. There's life before baby, life life after having your first, and then even I would say then that happens again with your second, and then talking with people, your third, I think. But then at some point, I think it's you gotta, that's just your life if you're a baby making machine, But
as some people are,
as some people want to be. God bless, But but the one that is a dramatic change. And then it changes your idea of balance, of everything, right? Of purpose, of your life, of who you are. The whole thing is pretty incredible.
It is. It's really incredible, and you said that great. It really does change kind of your perception of who you are and what your responsibilities are, what your priorities are in life. And before the baby came, both my wife and I, it's we dive into work, love where we work and everything like that. I love being here, treating patients and being part of the team here and what we do. That hasn't changed, but I would say it's now with our little guy's name is Noah. Now with Noah here, it's one of those things where the priorities kind of shift a little bit, where it's obviously work is still a huge priority for me. And it's I always come in here, do my best, get patients better. And that's number one goal when I'm in here. But now it's in the back of my head at all times, I'm kind of okay, what's going to be coming next with him? When I get home, what do I need to do? And it's so the priorities just kind of shift a little bit where it's like now he is my priority, like the top one. And it's kind of interesting because I haven't had that before. Like before that, it's kind of been like, like my wife and then work and, I love working out, right? So maybe that's kind of mixed in there too. But now it's kind of like, oh, okay, like my baby and my wife, that's like for sure that's the priority. And now it's like, but work is still a high priority too. So that's why finding a balance here has been interesting, but it's also been really great. Annie has been awesome with that, kind of helping out with scheduling wise, making sure that like, I have some time at home with him in the beginning of the day and then at the end of the day, right? To make sure I can still see him during the week. And then, obviously just having my time off on the weekends, which is great. Get to hang out with him, man. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely the next phase of adulting when you choose to have a child. Or you have one without choosing it, and it happens to you.
That's totally fair
that also
too.
happens.
That does happen.
Yeah, that does happen.
Yeah.
So whether it was my choice or like, whoa.
Yeah.
But definitely, I think part of it is like, who am I now, and how do I, there's still things I want to do and maintain that are part of my life and identity and passion. Fitness, working out, spending time like you and Abby doing stuff still that's fun. But now it's like fun with the family, but then also like. And at the 2-month mark, this may be, it's still maybe early on, but I think then it's like, well, what does your relationship look like now? And how do you guys find time to get a babysitter, get some childcare and take a break? Because as much as you love baby Noah, it's also like you need some time where you get a little space to breathe and just connect and like, oh, crap, man, this is where, it can be intense too, right? And overwhelming.
Oh my God. Yeah, it can be intense. And I mean, it's like, which was really great. I got to take a month off when we first like got into this. So it's like, it was really great for that month. It was just the three of us. Like, we had some help. Thankfully, it's like what you're saying, like getting some help, like childcare and all that kind of stuff. Like both of our families are close by, right? So we have help close by, which is really nice. Both of our parents have been over a lot. Like my brother and his wife have been over. They have 3 kids, but they've been over to kind of help out. We had friends that have stopped by, and it's like he's still young right now, so it's like I feel like at the beginning, right, you're kind of like just trying to like figure things out, and it's kind of survival mode, and it's like, okay, like let's try to get into some sort of rhythm here. But pretty early on with him, we kind of decided that, like, we want this to be something where obviously he's our priority and, like, we want to always make sure he's doing great and everything like that, healthy and everything like that. But we also want to integrate him into our life, right? We don't want it to be something where all of a sudden, like, all the things that we like to do and everything like that just stops. And everything is just, like, he dictates everything that we do. Which honestly, he's a baby, so obviously he does that to a certain degree. He's going to cry. He's going to do certain things like that. Maybe not sleep as well. We don't get as much sleep. But pretty early on, we were, started to take him to the grocery store with us. We'll take him over to see our friends when we go see our friends. Our friends will come over and see us. Like, taking him out to like dinner a couple times with us, not to like anywhere where it's like fancy, but like an open place where you can kind of be in his car seat and just kind of hang out on the floor while we're doing it. It's worked out really well. We're actually going on our first trip this weekend. We're doing a road trip over to Eastern Washington with 2 other couples that we're friends with. So we're trying to like instill that early on where it's like getting him used to kind of like doing the things that we like to do. We're taking him to the gym, of course. You got to do that. Got his little sound machine and his sound canceling headphones on there. It's just having him chill while we're working out. So, and he does pretty good with it, So it's like we are trying to integrate him into like what we like to do in our lives, which has worked out really well so far, and hopefully we can continue to do that. I know that things will change a little bit once he starts walking and talking and everything like that, hits that toddler phase. I know that's definitely a next big transition, right? So,
for sure, but I think if you're going into it with that philosophy, that practical perspective, which I love to hear, because I think it's sometimes not something that's discussed enough or that there's enough discipline around, like we're going to integrate, baby into our life and not allow baby to consume our life.
Yeah.
And that's certainly a mistake that a lot of people make. Is this mistake, I think, when I look back, years and years ago with my first child, is definitely I didn't have that same level of discipline and intentionality around it. And I definitely think you can lose touch with things. You can lose touch with friends. You can lose touch with your profession or your career. You can lose touch with your wife, or like, you can lose touch with your child or whatever. And so I think that from a dad standpoint, and then from a family standpoint, and then from like a husband, wife standpoint, that all those mixtures, right, having that kind of discipline of and acceptance and like, yo, we're gonna bring baby with. We're in taking the baby's coming with. We're doing stuff. We're not. This isn't gonna be like now our life is over and we like what we'd never leave the house. I think that's such a powerful way to be. Couldn't recommend it enough, and it's awesome to hear you guys are going down that path.
Yeah. I mean, it's been working out great so far, and it's like what's that saying that it's like for people listening, it's I don't want people to think it's like, oh, he's not the priority still. It's like he is. Like we're always still focused on him, but we want him to also be a part of what we're doing. It's different, right? It's like not like we're just like, oh, we're living our lives. He's along for the ride.
Yeah,
no.
like the tag along if you want, kid. the car's leaving in 5 minutes. Get yourself ready.
Oh, he's still down there? Oh man, that's okay. No, he's a part of it,
of course.
Right? And it's and it's really fun. It's been fun to like bring him with us doing those things. And it's been really fun to have him at the gym with us, and it's been really fun to have him like at friends' houses or like going to the grocery store, whatever it happens to be. It's been really fun to do that. So yeah, we hope to be able to continue to do that, and obviously we're just still figuring this thing out, man. We're 2 months into it. We're still figuring it out. Like as of right now, we feel pretty good with how things are going. And honestly, he's a great kid. And
totally.
That
helps.
That helps a lot.
For sure.
So I know it's like probably some parents listen to this, like,
they're
if
like,
they're colicky or like,
like
F you. Like that's, so I mean, we got lucky. He's a great kid. And even going back to like, it's like you mentioned kind of the connection, like, you're with your wife and everything like that. Like just the depth of connection I feel with my wife now after going through the birthing process, which, I know she was lucky enough to be able to do it. Well, I don't know if I want to use lucky. It was what we wanted to do. So she was lucky enough to be able to go through it like fully naturally, like no epidural, no nothing, and just kind of do that process, which is what we wanted. I know that doesn't happen for everybody, but that was our plan and it worked out well that way. And since then, he's been really great, and he's been a pretty easy baby for the most part. Sleeps pretty good, so we're very lucky that way. So it's been nice to be able to do the things that we've done.
You feel like you win the lottery a little bit when you then are with a friend or talking to somebody who has a more challenging baby. Just they're like, oh man, you get how intense that could make it an already intense thing even that much harder.
Yeah.
No, I love to hear you guys are back in the gym. Love that Abby's working out. From a movement is medicine. That's the show. That's the name of the show. So from a movement standpoint and just kind of thinking about it now, putting on your practitioner hat, your doctor hat. And as you're looking at that kind of post, that post, baby's here now, and what does movement look like, and what is it, what is Abby doing, and kind of how has that been an interesting thing for you to now maybe firsthand see, because I'm sure we've had patients kind of in the clinic maybe with various issues in those 12, especially those 12 months or 18 months, after birth, right? With getting back to doing the stuff they want to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, just from like our experience, because obviously, we always preach it, movement is medicine, right? And like during the first week after he was born, I will say like we started to like go on like I don't know if we did any walks the first week with him in his car. Maybe we did one. No, we didn't, because Abby was still recovering, right? So it's like during the beginning after like birth, women just they take it easy, which she did a really good job of. Which
don't go
if
too
anybody
fast,
right? Like knows Abby, like which my wife,
hard.
It was like she did great with doing that. She was very patient with it, but she loves to be active, loves to work out, loves to do CrossFit. So it was kind of like I was almost surprised. I was like, wow. I didn't think you were going to do this well with that. I thought you would have just been like, screw this, I'm going out, like, But no, she did great. So, I mean, for us, it started out with, going out on walks with him in the car seat. That was kind of like what it started out with, which was great. Now, because I was home for a month and I could kind of time things a little bit around his naps, I actually got back into the gym doing CrossFit probably within like 7 to 8 days, or a little bit longer than a week. I got back into the gym, which was great. Abby had to wait 6 weeks, kind of like 6 weeks recovery, and then she was able to get back into the gym as well. And I think because we're such active people and we've been doing CrossFit for a while, it's just really something that we love to do. I feel like I've made it my intention, one of my priorities to make sure that I still do that. So how I've been able to make that work so far, which, I mean, it makes for tough days sometimes, especially if he doesn't sleep as well, is like I get up and go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm usually up a little bit before 5 every morning. and then I'll get home a little bit after 6:30, and then he wakes up around 7. So I'm able to get back home before he wakes up, and then I'm able to kind of spend some time with him in the morning as I get ready for work, go to work, and then kind of go on with my day. So that's kind of how I've been able to integrate it myself. I know for everybody that's not going to work, and that's totally fine. So I mean, I've worked with some patients, one recently, right, who's coming in with like back pain and stuff like that because they recently had a new baby and he's about a month old. And just the change of having to like bend over, take him out of the crib and like, lean and like do stuff like that, starting to have back pain now. And basically, just talking to him too, it's like, hey, just as much as you can, just try to like move. Like, even if it's going out for a walk, does walking feel good? He's like, yeah, walking feels good. Okay, then great. Get out for a walk, go with your wife, take the baby, push him on the stroller, whatever you need to do, just get out there and move a little bit. Even if it's something that simple, I think trying to make it, like we've talked about in some of these other podcasts, trying to make it like a habit, trying to make it something that you do habitually throughout the week, whether or not that's 3 days a week, whether or not that's 5 days a week, whether or not it's every day of the week. Just doing something as small as that, if you're a new parent, is great, just because you're able to kind of build that into that. And then, you can kind of increase things from there if you want. If you're noticing aches and pains and stuff like that, obviously we're always here. But then as well as that, just like we have great resources where you can take a look at stretches that we have, lacrosse ball stuff, anything like that to kind of help yourself out during that time too. But it's really just what we preach. Movement is medicine. For us, that kind of looks like getting back into the CrossFit gym as much as we can, whether or not that's with baby or without baby. We've just kind of worked that into our schedule. It makes it tough sometimes, but we're finding a way to balance it right now.
Yeah, and I love your call out on getting out and using walking as kind of the basis. I think it's such an underappreciated form of movement and exercise, and it just feels so good. And you're talking about kind of rain or shine. We're getting baby bundled up and we're grabbing the walker and the stuff and we're heading out and we're doing. That's where we started with the walk. And that right there can, that starts greasing that groove again, gets the body kind of lubricated, and it's made to move. We're certainly made to walk. We could argue more than we're made to run all the time. We're made to walk all the time. I mean, running does come with some wear and tear, right? But we're made to walk all the time. And so you get out there and you start doing that, and that really helps transition you into whatever that next thing might be. And it's probably, it's great having, I think, something like CrossFit is nice too when your time is strapped, because it's one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Don't you wouldn't you see as a benefit to CrossFit versus just like getting back to the gym and I'm going to go throw some weights around?
Yeah. Cause sometimes there it's like you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. You don't know. It's like you're trying to fit what you want to do into that time period. That can be tough sometimes because you're trying to like, hey, I got this much to do. It's like, oh my God, I don't have enough time. And
I don't have like 2 hours to be in the gym.
You don't have like 2 hours. You're going to have like, for me, it's like an hour, like something, and that's perfect. Or if it's like different, like industrious, 50-minute class, great. You're in and out. That's perfect. So like having that schedule, and you don't have to think about what you're doing. They give you what to do. So that helps us too, where it's like, I don't have to come up with what I'm going to do at the gym. They tell me what to do, and then I'm just good to go.
That's one of the things that I think is a great benefit for a CrossFit or like a functional fitness like Industrious. I think it's even better because you have a little bit shorter classes, and there's a ton of energy and excitement going in there, so they can help bring up that motivation and that energy a little bit when you're coming in when the sleep hasn't been as great, right? It's one of the cool things about Industrious, and just as a good shout out to those guys, we love what they're doing. But yeah, you kind of get that energy elevated. Don't have to think of in anything like that where you don't have to think about your workout. I think is also key because when you have a new baby. Besides, you're dealing with aches, pains, stress, sleep, some anxiety, worry, all kinds of stuff's coming at you, as well as, joy and excitement and wonder and all this. And then thinking about, well, what's my workout structure going to be or whatever like that. Those kinds of things can be almost impossible to even worry about and concentrate on. And that can stop people from taking action. And ultimately, that's where we know that you can wake up 6-9 months and realize like, oh, crap. Or 2 years later, I stopped working out when we had the baby.
Right. No, it's 100% true, and I think it happens to a lot of people, and it's easy for that to happen.
It's easy,
and it's
very
like,
easy.
and we're not. It's like I'm not saying that that's bad if that happens.
It does happen, and it can happen. Yeah.
It absolutely can happen, and I think that goes back to what we were saying with like the walking type thing, right? I think people really do discredit how like simple that is, but how still good it is for your body. Plus, you're getting outside, which is great. Especially if you're feeling a little sleep deprived with a baby, getting outside and getting the fresh air does help.
Big time.
It's great. Huge for that. So start small. We've said this stuff before. Start small. Try to work it in. Try to make it part of your schedule. Increase from there. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Thanks for being on, Tim. Thanks for giving us the update. I've been
Yeah.
dying to hear how it was going, and it's just great to kind of share with everybody kind of what you guys have been going through. So, congrats out to you and Abby and little baby Noah. It's super exciting. And as we go through this journey of parenthood with you, we'll be looking forward to keep getting insights into how you're kind of managing those things and kind of how you're bringing, movement into your family. And it's cool because you and Abby obviously have such a passion around that it just naturally flows into your parenting style and what you guys are doing. But appreciate your transparency, and thanks for sharing with us today.
Absolutely. Man. Yeah. More than happy to do it. It's been amazing so far, and I'll be more than happy to give updates. We love the little guy, and love talking about him. So
love it, man. Well, thank you so much. We will see you on the next show. Until then, remember, no matter what, new dad, or even if you're an old dad, movement is the best medicine.